Yep, we're live. We're there.
Okay, awesome. Hey guys, we are ready for How to Hustle. Woohoo! So fun. Okay, so happy Monday, and here we are with week 3. Last week we talked about this is a people business. You're going to have to love people. You're going to want to talk to a lot of people. And this week we're going to talk to you about how to tell your story. So you probably didn't know this, or maybe you did, but you are now a paid storyteller. And part of the reason, for me, it's really good when I understand the reason why I am doing something. And so what I want to start off with for you guys is the reason we are going to talk to you this week about how to be a storyteller, how to love being a storyteller, how to be good at sharing your story. The reason behind that is because you are wanting to let people, while they're hearing your story, dream about theirs, think about theirs. So this past weekend, I went to Santa Barbara and I walked around downtown and I saw so many retail stores close down. Really, I've heard that malls are getting really barren in a lot of parts of the country. Our economy has completely changed. And so something that hit me this weekend when I was down there and I saw all those retail shops closing down, and that's a really nice, affluent area, and lots of people were down there, is so much is going to online and online businesses. Like you think about it with even Amazon, it's just sort of dawned on me that I don't even hardly have to go to Target or anywhere else anymore. I set everything up on subscription now, and that saves me time. We are in a new economy where people want connections with others. And they're very busy, they're very health challenged, they're very financially challenged. They're looking for solutions. And what hit me this weekend is I really want to be good at sharing my story and sharing the business side of things for people, because I'm kind of concerned. I'm concerned for people that don't see where our economy and our culture is headed. More and more, I'm convinced that this is a solution for people. And I want to be able to be very effective with helping them prepare for the future and helping them receive a good income and provide for their families in this changing economy. So you hold gold, you guys. You hold gold. And for a lot of people, you hold a solution for them that's going to prepare them to not have to have financial stress and problems. So you really want to be good at sharing your story and sharing your business story. And so we're going to get into those aspects. One of the most important things is that it is very short. You want to keep it to 45 seconds to a minute at most. The reason is because remember, your reason why is to get them to think about themselves and their own potential story. And if you have too much detail and too much fluff in that story, their mind will start to wander, and they'll, instead of thinking about themselves and their potential needs and their secret unexpressed desires and prayers, they're going to get caught up into being attentive and politely listening to you because you're going on and on and on, right? So we're going to talk to you about 4 elements to your story and how to share that.
Yeah, so we're gonna, you know what I love first, I want to touch on that you said about that we hold gold, is the gratefulness. You should have so much gratefulness that you're in this opportunity and that you get this business opportunity and it's been given to you, because out of gratefulness, it stems motivation and passion. So I love just that you touched on that, of what we have and how blessed we are. So on writing your story, next week we're going to cover how to talk to people and what to say. And one of the big things you have to have is your story. And you have to, it took me probably about a week and a half to really narrow down my story to get to 45 seconds to touch on the emotional side. So here's a key thing, guys. I want you to write down emotions. When we say that facts tell and stories sell, that is so incredibly true. You want to touch on somebody's dreams, like Mom said, on somebody's emotional tie to what you're doing. So you're not saying, well, here's the stats of our companies and the numbers. And while there might be a time for that, your initial conversation starts out with emotion. So I'm going to pull up and take a screenshot with your phone if you're watching. I'll put this in the comments later too. But here are the 4 key questions. This is just a simple graphic, but to ask yourself of how to write your story. So who are you and where have you been? So that's giving some background. What happened to cause you to look for something more in your life? How did you hear about Plexus and why do you want to be part of it? And what is it doing for you, or what is it going to do for you? So those are the 4 questions that you're going to even type them out on your phone and then fill in underneath, because it really helps to have your story written out and then use your own voice to repeat it. But get it written out first. So this is your homework this week, okay? So I'm going to take that away. Hopefully you screenshotted it. How to write your story. So for example, the way I start mine out with is about 5 years ago, I remember realizing that my son hadn't seen his dad in 5 days. And that really we weren't getting anywhere. I wanted more time freedom. I wanted my husband around more. I wanted to be able to take vacations together, and it just wasn't possible. And that's when Plexus was introduced to me, and I saw a way out of that, a way for more freedom. And then XYZ, this is what's happened. So I touch on the emotion side and I nod. If I'm talking to another mom, which usually I am, I'm nodding and I'm like, you know how like you never have time to do what you want. And I don't know about you, but my husband was gone all the time. And they're saying, yeah. And then I go into, and then I was introduced to Plexus and I saw that this was another option. And so that's how I tie into them. That's my story. So you can think of yours. Maybe you were in the rat race and you were going to work and working 9 to 5 and you were exhausted and you knew that there had to be another option out there. And that's tying into the emotion. Mom, what was it? What's the emotional backstory for you?
Okay, the emotional backstory for me is, and we are going to talk about fine tuning your story, because in this business, one of the best traits you can have is to be a really tuned in listener, and to really know who it is that you're talking to. This business is so much not about you. We're talking to you about your story right now for the purpose of breaking people out of the rut that they're in, so that they can have the opportunity to open their mind up to dream and to see that this might be the solution that they have been looking for. And so as you get better at telling your story, and I change mine because there's so many elements to my story, and I'm only going to keep it to 45 seconds to a minute, right? So if I'm talking to a red, if I'm talking to a yellow, if I'm talking to a blue, I have elements in all of my story that tie into that person's need, right? But my own story was, even though it looked like on the outside, like we had all of our financial needs met, what I knew is that we had not really planned ahead for the future. I knew that finances were a stressor in our lives. I knew that we couldn't take vacations. We could provide for all of our needs, but we couldn't take vacations. And so there wasn't room in our budget, and we were living a little bit out of our means. And so that's me connecting with the real emotions behind my story, and that created a lot of stress.
Yeah. So finding that, I like how you said fine tuning. So you're going to want an outline for your story. And then when you get really good at talking to people, you ask lots of questions. We've talked about that. Ask lots of questions and then tailor your story to fit that person. So if I'm talking to a man, I'm obviously not going to talk about being a stay-at-home mom, right? I'm gonna look for what he would be interested in. Maybe he wants out of his job and my husband wanted out of his job. So I'm gonna fall back on that. You want to be a story gatherer. So if you're talking to a school teacher, and you've done your homework and you've watched Diamond documentaries and you've watched and you've listened to testimonies of school teachers that were able to stay home, you're going to say, oh gosh, I was just, or I recently read a story about someone on our team that was able to stay home from being a school teacher because of XYZ. And you're going to have a storage box, a treasure chest of stories to tell. So mom and I, we were talking about how it's so important, even if you're a gold, senior gold, ruby, diamond ambassador, to show up to events, to go to listen to the wellness workshops and the stories and the lives and read the testimonies and gut health and happiness, not only to continue to build your belief, but to build your treasure chest of stories so that you can say, oh, I read something about someone who was like that, or I read something, let me send you something, and identify with that person, because once again, stories sell and facts just tell. So always building up that treasure chest of stories. If you don't have a success story yet, and so you feel like, well, if I tell them that I want to quit my job, but I haven't gotten there yet, or that I want to get out of debt, but I haven't done that yet, I'm only making $40 a month. First off, you're making $40 a month. So don't ever say, you know, I'm only doing this, because that's not putting yourself in a good mind frame to share. But talk about where you're going, that you're so excited because you are going to reach this goal because you've seen others do it, or because you've fallen in love with this and you're going to go for that. Talk about where you're going, because people want to jump on that train. People that want similar things. If you talk about, for example, you know, when you're in a group of women and you're talking about this new diet and they're like, oh, really? Tell me about it. How's it working? You're like, yeah. And so that did it, they lost, 15 pounds. And so I'm so excited to get started. It doesn't matter whether you've lost the 15 pounds yet. You're using someone else's success and saying what you're doing, and you're copying them. And your other girlfriends are going to be like, I want to. I mean, that's how we share Plexus, right? So that's how you share your business goals and where you're going with that. So make sure you're always sharing where you're going if you haven't gotten there yet.
Yes, exactly. And that's a tool that I use. Amber and I were talking this morning preparing for this, and she was saying she almost feels like us as diamonds, that it's a detriment to us when we're trying to share with other people, because there is so much value. If you are just starting your business right now, in you gathering people to work alongside you. You guys probably have heard of Kristen Abart, right? And so let me tell you, I shared with her my very first month, and this is how it went down. She was on the shore of the creek. I was in Tennessee visiting. I was in the water, probably with Colt, because I remember I was swinging somebody's baby around in the water. And I was telling her about this amazing pink drink and how much I loved it and how this was a huge business opportunity and how these women in this county were making like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and how I knew that if they did it, I could do it too. And I am so excited because this is a solution that I have been looking for. And you just watch me, because a year from now, I'm going to be rolling in it. That's what I told her, because I was like, this is an opportunity and a half. All I was doing was talking to my friends sincerely about something that I was so excited to do. And after I was done telling her like my sincere, thrilled excitement, she was like, well, I want to do that too. And I was like, well, let's do it together. And that is how it works.
Yeah. People don't want to miss out. People don't want to be left behind. So talking about where you're going is really powerful. I want to address what mom said about the diamonds. Sometimes we feel like if I go up to a mom and I say, yeah, my husband's retired and we built our dream home and we bought this ranch, and they can't see themselves because their belief is not big enough yet. They can't see themselves there. So sometimes I actually like water my story down, and I just wanted more freedom, and now we get to travel together, and I don't go into the big details because they can't see themselves there yet. So that's why it's powerful to bring people along in the beginning stages of your journey or the middle stages of your journey, because that is more relatable to them where they're at, not even started yet, right? Let's say you've been in Plexus for 2 years, 3 years, and you haven't hit your goals yet. That's fine too. Don't let that mental block get in your way. Be honest about it. Because if you've been in Plexus for 3 years and you're still a silver ambassador, it's probably because you're not really working your business, right? Let's just be honest. I've been there before. I was there in the beginning of my journey when I didn't hit my goals. It's because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to. You can be honest about that and say, this is where I'm going. I'm so excited. I've been with this company for several years now, and I've just, really been taking the products and just been in the groups, but never taken it seriously. And I am so excited because I know what to do now, and we're going straight ahead. And in the next couple months, I'm going to do boom, 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 boom. So don't let that stop you. Don't go into the drama of that. Tell them where you're going from here, from this day forward, right? The other aspect of that is be careful with your wording. What Mom and I were both convicted about this is when you're talking to somebody, I usually say, I took the products, I fell in love with the products, and then I decided to share because I got amazing results. Well, right there, you just subconsciously told this person that they have to take the products, get amazing results, and then share. Do you see what happened there? What about saying that you knew these were amazing products, you're excited to be using them yourself, and then you started to share? You don't have to subconsciously give them a limit and say, you need to get amazing results and lose 50 pounds before you tell anybody, because we know that is not the right way to do things, right? Maybe saying, I wish I had started sharing sooner. My mom wishes I would have gotten her going sooner instead of waiting so long. That kind of wording instead. Do you have anything to add to that, Mom?
And the only thing I would have to add to that is, once again, the concept here is this is not about you. It's not about you in any way, shape, or form, okay? There are so many people in this business that hit the ground running right away with this opportunity because it was something that they needed and they wanted to do. So how rude and wrong would it be, and selfish really, to wait until you're making XYZ amount of money or until you've got these results before that person has the opportunity to take what they need and create what they've been looking for and praying for. Amber, like her story and my story, are two totally different stories. It's so easy for you guys to look at her and just think amazing diamond, because she is an incredible, amazing trainer, an amazing diamond. I remember her being in the backseat of the car, bawling her eyes out, saying she couldn't do this business. Mm-hmm. Okay, but thank God that she didn't wait until she got all her personal growth things and her desire and her fears and everything worked through before she shared it with me, and before I shared it with Kristen, and before Kristen shared it with Brenda Martin. Because all you guys see is Brenda Martin Diamond building this amazing barn house with 11 children, but they had real financial needs and they were living with 11 children. And I don't think she minds saying this, in a 2-bedroom house. Mm-hmm. And so you see the other side of it, but thank God that Amber didn't wait to share, and none of us waited to share. So you hold an opportunity that really has nothing to do with you, mm-hmm. not with your product results, not with your business results. And that is a really good thing. It is such a good thing because, we touched before on you recruiting people that are better than you. That's your goal. That is everything that you want. And so telling your story helps to connect to that. I remember one of the things that Amber did is she got me to an opportunity event. Mm-hmm. And when I was hearing those women tell their stories, it was connecting with me in some real powerful ways. And so So those are some tools you can use too, and I'm deviating. Sorry.
No, that's really good. That's why events are so important. I was just checking my notes. That's why events are so important, because that's how we gather stories. And I think that's kind of sums up what we're saying, is use stories. When I'm reaching out to somebody, I'll ask, can I share my story with you? Instead of saying
your story.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's such an easy yes. And I send my written story, maybe tailored a little bit to fit their needs, and I end it with a question. Does any of that sound like something you would be interested in as well? Or just some sort of question so they have a reason to respond. And they usually respond with, wow, that sounds so neat and so interesting. Yeah, I love that. Congratulations, that kind of thing. And it keeps the conversation going. And it's so much more, isn't that like so much more connecting than just, let me send you a video. And you can watch a YouTube video, but me talking about me, sending my story, maybe even sending a video, like a little 30-second video clip saying, and just talking to them. Creates that connection, which is so important. Don't hide behind a screen or a YouTube link or a copy paste. Those things are necessary, but that's not where you start. You start with you and your experiences, or the experiences you are going to have.
Yes. And I think back also to when I was not even a gold ambassador. And one of the stories that I told somebody that's on my team right now is I sent her the income disclosure graphic, and I told her, this is what I'm shooting for. This is what I know I can reach. And that is why I cannot take on this position that she was asking me to take on. I was like, I can't do that because I'm working this. And she came back with some sort of haha, yeah, right. And I was like, haha, yeah, right. Watch me, because, and I sent a few testimonies, and the conversation developed from there. And so that was as a, maybe I had 80 points in my back office. And so those are the ways that, they work. Okay. Yeah. Because nobody cares about you. They don't care about you with your results, and they don't care about you with whatever business goal you've reached. They care about themselves. We are emotional beings. We are afraid to dream, but we all have secret wishes, secret dreams. The more your story connects to what is a real emotion for you, what you are really wanting out of this business, and the real why, the more emotional that is and authentic, the more it's going to connect to their dreams and wishes, and secret desires and hopes that they would someday find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's perfect.
So leave out the fluff, edit your story tight, 45 seconds to a minute, practice with your friends, practice with your upline, get feedback from your spouse, from your mom, and make sure it's a story that is connecting. And some of the ways that I change it when I'm talking to either a yellow who likes to help people, a blue who likes to have fun, a red who is all about the money, which is not a bad thing. We are all about the money because that's connected to our dreams and our goals. We got to pay for things, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're yellow or blue, you still need money. And I tailor it. If it's a red, I talk more about the financial side of things. Mm-hmm. And what I saw for the business opportunity. If it's a blue, part of my real story is my circle was very small, my social circle. I wanted more friends. I wanted more social connections. And so, and we have that in Plexus. And then the yellow, the real thing, man, I wanted to help people. I wanted them to, this is a rewarding business. This is not a drag of a 9-to-5. You get to set people free in their health, and you get to set people free in their business, and they get to work on themselves and grow themselves and then get paid for it. So, so there are all sorts of ways to connect that story to people's desires.
Yes. What's that book called? 4 Color Personalities.
Yes, the 4-color MLM.
MLM personality. That's a really short, easy read, and it's really, really good. You can also go on YouTube and type in Plexus 4-color personalities, and there's a good training there too by a couple diamonds. But yeah.
There's one thing to end on, and that is always end your story with a question. So for me, it was not having the stress. It was being able to remodel my house. It was being able to take some trips and vacations, provide some opportunities for my kids. Like my daughter's riding horses now. That's something we couldn't do before. And so I might end on something like that and then just say to them, what would you love to do if finances weren't an issue? Like, what would you do? And get them. Everybody wants to answer that question. And so they get to talk and you get to connect with them over their story wishes, their dreams. Yeah.
So, always end with a question, or else you're not asking for a response. If you want a response, end with a question.
So I think that's pretty much it for this week. And you guys have your homework. You're going to craft your story. You're going to become excellent at telling it. You're going to practice. And also you're going to work with the people that you have on your team, that you've recruited, your team members, and work with them on their stories. So have a great week, you guys. We'll see you next Monday. Bye.